Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Am I Successful Yet podcast, the podcast where we challenge the normal definition of success and seek to prove that success is not a linear pathway and more a bit of a curvy one with lots of ups, downs, and back to fronts. Today, I am interviewing my wonderful human friend, Kelly Gatehouse. Kelly is the director and legal principal of Nurture Law. She is an estates lawyer or practices in dead people law. We just had that conversation before we got on air. Kelly has a team of 10. About 10 years into her career, she decided to open her own law firm, which is turning 5 in July. So welcome to the podcast, Kelly. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat.
It's so good. So Kelly and I were going to start our own podcast years ago. But then we thought it was this kind of incoherent rant of us just going off on tangents.
Well, here we are.
And here we are. So if we happen to go off in incoherent rants of tangents, then I don't know, the AI producer has not done its job. So that's a problem. Okay. So with the very brief background that you have and very limited information that I've provided to get you here, can you tell us about a big pivot in your career or your life where you've had to do something that you didn't necessarily think you were going to do, like start a law firm, for example, and you've survived and it's been okay? And what have the learnings been?
Okay. There's probably been a lot of them. How far back do you want me to go?
Let's go. Let's say last 10. Look, let's do the headline ones. Let's say
the headline ones? Okay.
Yeah, top 3 to 5.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it probably actually goes back pretty far in that
way back.
Yeah, like I pivoted a bit in terms of, when I left high school, I actually applied to study visual arts. Super random.
I did not know that. That is
yes. So, and didn't get in. So then
what?
My portfolio was clearly not great.
Got into law.
Yeah. So that's a whole other story. So then, which I think my parents were pretty happy that I didn't get into visual arts. No. Anyway, after that, I sort of went and got a job in law firms and then went and started studying like a paralegal degree. So you can do that back then. Like, I don't know, that's over 20 years ago now. You could go and do like a paralegal degree at uni. So I actually started doing that because my OP, back then we called it an OP, now it's like an ATAR, sort of didn't get me in. So to law straight away. But I sort of knew I either wanted to be an artist or a lawyer.
I love the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that. So good.
Yeah. So I think then I did that for a little while, but then I was at an age where I sort of just really wanted to focus on working and I guess spending time with friends and didn't want to study at that point. So I had a bit of a break. Went back, studied Bachelor of Justice and then transferred into law. So I didn't go straight into law.
I didn't know this whole background story.
Yeah.
I started in a Bachelor of Leisure Management.
Leisure Management?
I don't even know what that is. I taught a yoga class once as an assignment, so I don't know. Let's take with you.
So but I'd always worked in sort of in firms basically from when I finished high school. Pretty much my first job was in a conveyancing firm. Anyone who's looking to be a future lawyer, learn conveyancing. It's a really good skill to start off with, and it sort of touches on various practice areas. Great skill to have.
I've been a lawyer for 16 years and I don't know how to do a conveyance.
Well, I can't say I've done one in a very long time, but I sort of know enough to understand parts of it. So, but yeah, I'd always worked in sort of firms, and I went to a larger firm. I worked at Slater and Gordon actually for about 11 years. So and that's where I essentially mainly did my law degree, worked in different practice areas within that firm. And I guess that's probably...
So you didn't have a law degree and you were paralegaling at this point?
Yeah. So and it was great because I was able to work in different areas and test sort of what I liked, what I didn't like, and an opportunity came up to work in the estate litigation team there. And then I was very much thrown in the deep end as a baby lawyer. They hired me and I ran that practice for about sort of 5 years as a lawyer.
A baby lawyer?
A baby lawyer.
Wow.
Yes.
Sure. No worries.
So that was I guess, and then that firm was looking to sort of, I guess there was sort of some redundancies going on, and
Mhm.
they were sort of closing down a lot of the practices that weren't personal injury. So I sort of, the writing was on the wall that I kind of needed to figure out my next move, which was pretty sad because I really loved working there and I had some really good mentors and I worked with some amazing people. So it was sort of sad having to find something else at the time, but I then went to another large firm in Brisbane into more of a specialized wills and estates team and yeah, spent time there, which that was sort of where I think there was probably some big learnings at that place.
Okay. Right. Usually that's where the PTSD is formed, the
Yeah,
learning.
yeah,
Um,
the learnings.
is this like learnings about humans, learning about law,
Yeah, I
learning
think
about you?
humans, it was like it's quite a competitive environment, a
Okay.
stressful environment. I think that on a reflection now, I know that there were some really good skills that I learnt there, but would I do it again? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, definitely had like you and I have talked about this. I had a pretty terrible, I think, breakdown at that point in time. There was,
Yeah.
a lot going on. And this was like sort of uh pre-COVID, I suppose you could say. But throw in the mix there, relationship breakdowns, new relationships, miscarriage, all sorts happening in the mix
So
at
many
that
things
point.
happening.
So
Yeah.
many things happening.
What and at this point, how you're about 8 to 10 years into
Yeah,
your
around
career,
that.
somewhere
Yeah,
around that? Okay. So you're fairly like getting pretty experienced in law land.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was sort of there for around 5 years, and then I had my son in 2019. I had him, and it was sort of then it was COVID. Yeah, when he had a baby, so that was an interesting time. I kind of in it's COVID was not great for a lot of people, but for me, it meant that I could enjoy that time at home with my baby, weirdly, and
Yeah, which was so yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, he was
yeah,
kind of a
and my husband was able to be at home more than he would have otherwise. So it was good in that way, but there was, a little bit isolating. And then, so after he was born, when he was around 11 months old, I should say during that time I was off. I had a lot of time to reflect and a lot of time
okay.
to really, I think, have some space from the workplace and
Yep.
sort of figure out what I wanted to do. I'd always had I guess a bit of a entrepreneurial spirit. I don't know if you want to call it that.
Yep. I mean, sure, why not? Yeah.
Why not? There's a lot of business owners in my family, so I kind of had an idea of what that meant and the sacrifices, but also the really good things that could come from owning a business. So I was sort of always had that niggling feeling and spent a lot
Yeah.
of time, I think, in that break reflecting, reading, listening to things, talking to people that outside of my usual circle, my usual sort of
Okay.
bubble of people.
Were they and are these people lawyers or business owners or like how did you identify the best people to speak to during this
Yeah,
time?
I think it was a mixture
Okay.
of people, and weirdly, I got a lot of really good advice from my father-in-law, who has now passed away, sadly. But he had his own business, and he really gave me some positive advice. Around things like, well, what's the worst that can happen?
Love
You'll
that.
go get a job. All those sorts of things. And it came from my father-in-law, who's he was a fella from the country, wasn't probably overly in touch with his emotions, but he gave me some really good advice and which, I think it's easy for people who maybe aren't as close to you. I probably didn't get that same advice, sadly, from other closer people because they want to, I guess, try and protect you from potential failure, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is not great because, you can take that as a bit of a confidence hit or,
Yeah, like, are you sure? Is this
yeah,
safe?
yeah,
Yeah.
or are you going to be able to handle that? Or those sort of
Yeah.
questions. Yeah, that's sort of
Particularly if
frustrating.
you were coming off a period of burnout that people very close to you
So,
knew
yes.
was
Yeah.
happening, they would have been like, I
Yes.
mean,
Is this a good
is this
idea?
a good idea? I don't know. Do we still want to be a lawyer when we grow up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were all those questions. I think there was like, I was toying around with the idea of what opening in some other kind of business, not maybe law, was law for me. There were so many things going on in that period of time, but it was nice. And no,
And
I
this was like,
appreciate,
well, would have been like 18 months, was it? Of transition period between like work, maternity leave, and then the next thing, which is
yeah. Sorry, it was probably about, I'd say 18 months, approximately. I was sort of toying with the idea of it and sort of trying to figure out what I wanted. It wasn't like an overnight, yep, I'm doing this
yeah.
idea. It was, yeah, and thinking about what that might look like. I think, so I did actually go back to that firm after I was on
Okay.
maternity leave, and it was pretty crazy, very long days, 7 a.m. start in the city, commuting, not great.
With a what,
Hopefully,
12-month-old?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And, my husband was not a stay-at-home dad. He worked too. So it was pretty full on. And I quickly realized that that wasn't going to be sustainable for our family. And then I actually went and took a job at another firm and quickly realized that wasn't really aligned to me. But I
Okay.
think it was kind of good because it made me realize, no, actually, you do need to really go down this path of doing something for yourself and building something that, essentially a workplace that I wanted to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Mm,
love that.
mm,
Yeah.
mm, mm.
And then what happened? Because then you birthed something else.
Yeah, I think I remember you and I, we did some courses, which was like
Yeah.
what was it called? Like how to start a
So
law
you
firm,
think you
or
want
so
to
you
start a law
think you
firm?
want to start, which Clarissa Raywood was running, and I think that was great. But that was a good start to sort of start thinking about from the very outset, rather than just opening a firm and running with it and figuring it out. I actually did intentionally think about things like what the values were, what my values were, what the values of the firm were going to be, what it was going to look like, what type of clients I wanted to actually
Yeah.
work with, and not just, run with something without any thought into it. So I think it was good that I was able to do that from the beginning, and having guidance from people in that space was really useful.
I think that was the funnest part of my law firm, was doing that course.
Yeah, that was because that's where we met.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I made a great friend too, so that was nice.
yeah. um. So yeah, Nurture Law was born, and
But it wasn't
I
natural law originally. It was like kind of like no
I
name
don't know.
for a
I think it
while.
was like I took forever to name it,
Yeah.
and because I felt like that was really important. I didn't want to just name it after me. I want to mean something, I guess, in the long run.
Yeah.
I think I probably was looking more bigger picture. But yeah, I opened it and I had I think in the first week I had an absolute mentee bee and went to see my psychologist because I was like, what the fuck have I done? I've just given up this, well-paying job that was secure, and here I am going, I have no idea when I'm going to have my first client. Am I going to be able to pay myself? All these scary thoughts. So yeah, that was pretty full on. I probably reached out to you a lot in that
We
time.
definitely had conversations, and I was like, yeah, me too. I don't know. Are we supposed to get paid? I don't think that's the thing that we get. I don't know. I don't know.
And then I guess continued, I guess I hustled,
Yeah.
figured
So
it
how
out.
did you get through that period? So that, like, I have experienced that, and I know that, we obviously went about things in different ways, right? Just, you clearly still have a business. I am now going on a different journey, bit of a side quest over here. But how did you break through that kind of that feeling of like, fuck, is this going to work out? Like, I'm so like
Yeah.
terrified.
I like for the first probably 2/3 years, I think I was definitely in this like imposter syndrome state.
Okay.
And I think that I kept the firm small probably because of fear, like a lot of fear of like, well, if I hire, I've got to, make more money, pay people,
Yeah.
etc. And there was always this like lingering feeling of like, do I want to have another child?
Yes, I remember
How
having
would
that
that work?
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, like how would that work with the business? And so that was sort of and that really all of that kind of held me back a lot. And then
Yeah.
I think there was just a big shift, and I was like, got to a point where I was like, what are you doing? Like, you can't just you either got to kind of go all in
Yeah. Or
or
not.
do or not. And I just sort of had this all of a sudden, a shift in thinking and moved into like a more permanent premises, hired, more staff, and it's kind of grown from there. I mean, that's not to say that like it's been very hard, but that was a good move. And I think that I just needed to have that mindset shift.
And do you think that was a confidence thing to start with?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. I did a lot of work on my own confidence, which was, fairly shot after having some, experiences
Yeah.
that I'd had, particularly after burnout and all of those sorts of things. And I think for me, it was working on my confidence in a lot of different ways, seeking, I guess, support from various coaches, things like
Yeah.
that around, confidence building, which was helpful to me. And just to sort of really spend the time figuring out what I wanted and,
Yeah.
what that would look like and what aligned with me.
Because it's different, right? When what you want and how you show up as an employee compared to what you want and how you show up as a business owner is a totally different ballgame.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you have to, as a leader of a business, you've got to show
Yeah.
up and you've got to, people are relying on you. So it's almost like you feel like you don't have time to kind of figure that stuff out, or that people think that you've got it together, that you've instantly got everything together and all the
Yeah.
answers. Yeah, which
Yeah.
I feel like I'm constantly learning as a leader and putting effort into that, I guess, self development.
Yeah. And with that's obviously a huge pivot, right? Going from an employee to a business owner. Have you, I think that, and we can edit this out if you don't want to answer this question. I think we kind of got through the whole, should I have another baby thing? And then you were like,
Yeah,
I'm not doing that anymore. And
yeah,
once you kind of decided that, I think that kind of helped you clear,
definitely.
it's like this overlap between your personal goals, like for your family, but also then for your business.
Yeah, well, and you don't have to edit it out. You can keep it in. I think, yeah, big shift for me was making kind of that decision, but it was also a decision of if I did want to have a baby, I don't have to put my business on hold. I will
Yes.
figure it out. Like I
Yeah.
kind of got to that realization. Yeah, I think it just me kind of going, oh well, whatever happens in that space happens.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Again,
yeah,
mindset shift, right?
yes, huge
And
mindset shift.
is that a coach? Is that, do you think that's come from a coach, from coaching, or from therapy, or from like
I think
just talking to other friends in that space, or
I
just
think a
combination?
mixture. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I guess, life, yeah, different things that happen in life, I guess, and
Yeah.
yeah, kind of going, well, we can't just keep holding back on things we want to do.
And what do you think so far is one of the hardest things you've had to do as a business owner?
Lots of things.
Every day, every day.
I mean, I've never worked harder than I do now. Well, for the last 5 years, it's been pretty tough, in terms of
Yeah.
time in the business, but I I think the hardest thing is probably managing lots of people and being
Yeah.
pulled in so many different directions in the business and wearing so many different hats has definitely been challenging.
Mm.
So there's been a lot of work, particularly in the last sort of I hired an operations manager, which
Yeah. Which
has
was
been life
huge.
changing
Yeah.
for me. So and she's like a super close friend of mine since we were very young children. So she's like a sister to me. I have that massive trust there, which has been huge for me. But yeah,
And
that
I remember you said something like that when you hired your very first paralegal as well, that was like
yes,
life changing, and you were like,
she
how did
yeah.
I not have this before?
I'm like, why didn't I do it like 6 months
Yeah,
earlier?
like immediately. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was a big shift as well. And I think it's just and then you grow confidence as you start hiring more people. You go,
Yeah.
all right, I can do this, and your confidence grows.
So, are you successful yet?
I don't know. Look, I don't know. I think my version of success sort of changes as
Yes.
things evolve. I don't think that it's
100%.
like, sorry.
100% that's what
Yeah,
happens. Yeah.
yeah. I don't think that, you know, I mean, look, I might appear successful to people from the outside, but
Yeah.
is that success to me? I don't know. I think that still got a lot of work to do, I think, on myself in terms of my own leadership skills, which I'm really
Yeah.
loving this stage of being a business owner where I can actually spend a little bit of time reflecting and working on those things, which is great. But yeah, I don't think it is stagnant success. It will forever
It's like
change
an ever
depending on
changing
yeah.
thing.
And
And
it's
do you
okay.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And do you think you're taking time to like go, oh, wow, we met this. Wow, we did this. Oh, wow, this is cool. Or are you kind of like, oh, yeah, success is changing. We're just going to keep on going, 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 going.
I mean, within our business, you mean?
Mm.
As in, yeah, I mean, obviously we have goals in the business, and I
Yeah.
think it's important to have those goals to keep things moving
Yeah.
and for everyone to have something to work towards. Most definitely it's important, but um those goals might shift and change in different directions. It's not linear. I think that
Yeah.
it could go in all sorts of different ways, but I do think that sticking to, like, our team has pretty good values. I think our firm does, and I think it's sort of
Yeah.
sticking to that as well, and keeping that success within that sort of framework, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. And the values that you have for your firm, and I do know what they are, but I don't know what they are off the top of my head right now. Do you know what they are off the top of your head?
I'll tell you, I know a number of them.
Yeah.
Kindness, clarity, innovation, consistency. There's one other. Gosh, I should know that by now off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they're the sort of the key ones, I would say.
And do
Mm.
you think they, as the owner of the business, did they mirror your own values, or was that something that you believed should be available to the people that you were serving? Those types of the way in which you show up as a business.
Yeah, I think that they somewhat mirror. I mean, they are a part of my core values,
Yeah.
definitely. But I do think that, we did a lot of work as a team. I didn't set those values myself.
Yeah.
We did that work as a team. And I think that it's also, that is because I probably attract people who are sort of aligned with my values to come and work with me. And I was very intentional from the outset, the type of clients we wanted to work with as well. And
Yeah.
I think that, making sure that our brand presence sort of reflects those values helps
Yeah.
in attracting the right clients.
And have you had an experience where it's, I guess, that attraction has been off, where you've had the wrong client show up, or even like the wrong person within your business that you maybe were like, oh, that didn't work out?
Yeah, definitely. And that's, being in law, I think that that can happen a lot. And we want to help people. We want to, you know, jump to do that. And sometimes those people aren't aligned with us, or,
Yeah.
yeah, like I think, take a very much a more collaborative approach rather than an adversarial approach to litigation.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we don't, deal with matters in court. We do, but I think there is a way to go around it that doesn't make hopefully doesn't make it worse for the people
Yeah.
involved who are already dealing with some crappy things in their life. So yeah, I think it's trying to attract clients in that way, and yeah, I think we definitely you know try and weed out those ones who maybe don't align with that from the beginning. I think and it's teaching staff though to have that radar because they don't always
Yes.
either, and that's hard too. Mm, But yeah, got to have a bit of a radar for it, I think.
Yeah, because I think if you've got, like, they've got business development goals or something, for example, or
Mm,
business development targets, and they're like trying to get clients in, and there's no like decision making framework there as to the type of client that we want and
yeah,
who we work best with, then you could literally end up with anybody and everybody.
yeah.
And everyone knows that not everybody is everybody's cup of tea, right? So
No, no. And I think it's allowing staff, and I've had that feedback from my staff, particularly junior lawyer, talking about, at previous firms, they were just expected to kind of take on whatever clients were handed to them. But I take a view of like, no, we don't need to do that. And I don't have any tolerance for them the clients treating staff horribly either.
yeah,
And I think it's important to show that to junior lawyers that, I'm there to, I guess, help them through that as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Creating that place that you wanted to work, like you said
Yeah.
earlier. Yeah, that's huge. You mentioned before that you had some really good mentors in one of your first roles. I think it was
hmm
Slater and Gordon.
hmm
What makes a good mentor in your mind?
I think someone who, and this is like, I don't know, maybe sounds a bit cliche, but someone who gives you, I guess, constructive criticism, isn't just
Yeah.
negative, 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 isn't, micromanaging you, allows you to, have new thoughts, be
Yeah.
innovative,
Yeah.
put your ideas on the table, is open to them, and really
Mm.
wants to hear you and listen to you, but also puts you forward in front of people who perhaps you need to connect with or are important to connect with, to sort of advance you in your career and not just worried about themselves.
Mhm.
Definitely that sort of support. And being a good, peer. someone that
Yeah.
you can go to and not be afraid to tell them, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of those sorts of things.
All the things that are going on.
Yeah, yeah.
And do you
Oops, we just cut out.
Okay. All right. So we're back after a few technical difficulties, everybody. Now I want to just ask you a few questions before we wrap up. My first one is around this artist versus lawyer thing. I knew I wanted to be an artist or a lawyer, which just confuses my brain. I actually have a podcast interview in the morning with an artist who is amazing. So
There you
I'm
go.
going to ask her if she's ever wanted to be a lawyer in her life.
Mm.
Just out of curiosity, what do you think, if any, are the similarities between a lawyer and an artist? And do you think that you get to be an artist at
I
all?
think, yeah, I mean, uh, obviously there's a lot of differences between an artist and a lawyer, but I think there are some similarities in that you can use your creative brain in terms of like strategy maybe
Yep.
and language and those aspects of it. I think there are some similarities. I have always been that person who is probably more, I am stuck at maths, stuck at science. I'm the person who's like,
Words.
English, arts, drama. I was that kid.
Hmm.
So, I think that I definitely use some of that creativity in my business, which was probably part of another reason why I couldn't continue to work in
Yes.
those firms that, more traditional firms. I wanted to be able to use my creative brain in how I delivered a legal service to clients and
Hmm.
what that would look like for them and their experience with that legal service. So I think being that allows me to be creative as well. And also like innovation is one of my values. And I think that we can continue to innovate within the law. And I think that's another reason why, I founded Nurture Law was to be able to do those things. I had always had this like itch and this desire to be, and I'd put these ideas forward to, principals I was working for, and they were like, oh no, we're making money the way that we are, so it doesn't really matter,
Yeah, we don't need
you
to
know.
do it better.
Yeah. So I think I really, really had this desire to be able to, offer a service to clients that was, a better experience in law.
Yeah. And do you
Mm.
think that, so obviously AI is taking over lawyers' jobs, I keep on hearing. I saw an article someone posted this morning that the Microsoft AI person said that all white collar jobs were going to be gone in, I don't know, a very short amount of time. And I just don't feel like that's accurate. Do you think that this innovative way of doing things and I guess this more collaborative way of practice in law land is it just something that we do like as in our network, or do you think it's actually the legal industry? Because
Oh,
I used to
I
hate
don't,
lawyers and now I like
yeah,
them because I hang out with
maybe it's because
good
we hang
ones.
out with, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that AI isn't going to be the issue for firms. It's going to be how, as leaders in the legal industry, we embrace it and use it, and how we, I guess, teach, how we encourage our staff to use it within practices. So I think burying your head in the sand around it isn't
Is it
great.
going to work?
But like replacing people entirely with AI is also not great. Like the law, particularly the area of law I work in, is very human centered, and AI can't replace that part of it. I do think that clients are going to become frustrated with lawyers trying to charge huge fees for work that perhaps AI can do. So it's
Yeah.
about how you use AI and how you, I guess, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here,
No, this is good.
how you kind of, offer, what value do you offer, not just,
Yeah.
output of a lawyer at 6-minute increments.
Yeah, that's right. Like everyone
Yeah.
knows you're smart. Everyone knows we've worked in 6-minute increments our whole career and for the
Mm-mm.
before the end of the start of time when lawyers existed. But what value are you offering?
That's
What's my
right.
experience when I work with you? Like
Yeah.
why am I paying for somebody to put data into a spreadsheet or something like this? Like
Mm.
that is a job that
Yeah.
a white like that's going to be replaced. But
Yes. Those
that
parts
human
of the
aspect,
job might,
as you
but
said,
yeah, yeah. It
never.
it won't. I don't think it will be. I think the legal landscape is inevitably going to change in the next, probably next 2 years. I think there'll be a rapid
Yeah.
change, and particularly around, yeah, how we charge clients, and the expectation of AI and how they engage with us too.
Yeah.
Um, and educating people around what the actual job of a lawyer is as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably the hardest part.
Yeah. This is what we can
Mm.
actually do.
Yes.
We're not
Yeah.
magicians.
Yes.
Despite what some lawyers might promise you, I don't know. Um, so do you get to be an artist? Do you get to do art things outside of law land? Do you ever paint,
Sometimes
sing,
I
or
like
dance, or play an
my
instrument?
son is like super creative little boy, and he loves art. He loves anything art and craft. So I get excited about that. And
Yeah.
so my goal is to have a really cool craft room in our house.
Yes.
That's kind of yeah. But I think that I probably get to do it in that way. I have every now and then I go through stages where I'll do like watercolor, that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
just depending on the time and space that I have to do
Yeah.
it. But yeah, anything art and craft is fun when I have time.
Fair. Love that. Now, my exploration, just my very selfish research that I'm attempting to do at the moment with these interviews is, do you think your values have remained the same or have they changed as your definition of success has changed throughout the different things that you've done?
Yeah, I don't think my values have changed. I think I've gotten better at defining those values
Yeah.
and life experience, understanding and articulating what those values are, and sort of recognizing, I guess, a consistency in that. But in terms of them, I think they've been challenged. They're always challenged
Yeah. Okay.
at times, but I think I've probably changed in that, depending on other influences, I guess, in my life and particular environments you work in. Like as I've talked about, I'm a much more, I guess, collaborative practitioner now versus adversarial. Like if you knew me as an early lawyer, um, I was always out to have an argument with people. I wanted to win at all costs.
Oh, beast mode. Love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I definitely, and I think I have changed. That's not to say that, where necessary, we put up a good fight, but I think that there is a better way to do that. So yeah, I think my values have probably changed. That's an example.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. And do you know what your core values are? Have you kind of sat with that and figured that out?
I think so. I mean, very similar to the firms.
Yeah. Okay.
Kindness is like a huge one for me. Like
Yeah.
I just think it's so important to help people. Like I mean, I became a lawyer because that's what
Yeah.
ultimately what I wanted to do,
It
and I
always
think a lot
sounds
of
so
people do.
cliche when people say that, like, "I just wanna help people," and it's just like,
Yeah,
yeah, but some people
yeah.
just actually do wanna
Yeah,
help
I've
people.
always had, I guess, a sense of that social justice, I suppose,
Yeah,
is what. Yeah, and that carries through, and I think that's never changed for me. I've always wanted to help people, and yeah, kindness, and I think consistency is important, like showing up for people, in various aspects of life, I guess. And yeah, but not only, I suppose, with kindness too. It's for me, it's been like I always think of that as being kind to others, but it's also kindness to myself. Like
I
that's
was
been
literally
probably a
about
big
to
change.
say,
Yeah,
you consistently show up for yourself, and are you kind to yourself?
yeah,
Particularly in the role that you're in right now as a business owner with 10 humans under you. That's a
yeah.
big commitment to
I
you
think
and to everybody else and your clients.
kind in that I don't put as much pressure on myself, I suppose, but I probably need to look after myself better
Yeah,
in a physical way, but I definitely am kind to myself mentally, I think.
okay.
And I know when I
And that's
need to
half the battle,
perhaps.
right? Is the
Yeah,
the mental load and being
yeah,
able to be like, "Whoa, okay,
yes,
there's a lot
yeah,
in there. How do I prioritize all of the things?"
yeah. And I think I think I'm much kinder to myself around that. And like I also had a really lovely first holiday, woo, in like 5 years,
Yay!
just
Yes.
gone at the well, like over Christmas times. That it's getting to a point where you can kind of do those sorts of things for yourself as well. Recognize when you need a break as well.
Yeah, okay. And do you think
Mm.
that's definitely a learning, right? Is
Yes.
is that self-awareness to kinda get to a point where you're like, "Oh, wow, I'm not doing so great."
Yeah, yeah. Self
Yeah.
awareness, probably a lot of therapy over the years.
Yeah. Fully. 100%. And I think that, like, just being open to the fact that that's what people do to get to heal and to
Yep,
get through shit. People go to
definitely.
therapy. People
Yeah.
go to energy healers. People heal
And it's
in
okay.
all different ways,
I
and it's
think
normal.
it was very much when I first started seeing a psychologist, I didn't want to tell anyone in the firm I was at. I didn't want to speak
Yes.
about it. I didn't want to, but now I'm so open about it because I just think it's so important for particularly early career lawyers, to realize that it's actually okay to go and do those things. And your mental health is so important, so important. Like, you can't show up in your job if you're not well, and you just need to look after yourself. And there's no shame in that. It's just like if you had a heart condition, you would go and see a heart specialist. Absolutely no shame in it. So I'm very much about talking about it. But back then, I would not have
No,
talked
it
about
wasn't
it.
a thing though.
Mm.
I think us, because we're about the same sort of years of
Yeah.
lawland. And I think that, yeah, back then when I really needed someone, like probably 8 years ago, I remember going in and speaking to a psychologist and I was like, oh, so like, I think I've got burnout or blah. And burnout wasn't like a buzzword in
Mm,
2018. It
mm.
was like, what is like, just keep it together, girl. Like, you'll be fine. And I sat across from this bloke and I was like, oh, but I've quit my job now. And he goes, oh, well, you should be fine then, I guess. And I
Oh,
was like, yeah, I guess so. I mean, cool, great, I'm fine now. I've quit my job, so I'm cool. I'm good. Don't worry about it. Like, it's
oh,
such a weird. But yeah, you didn't want to use. I remember not wanting to use the EAP system
yeah.
because they would like you were worried that they were going to report back to HR
Yeah.
or whatever to be like, oh, they accessed it. Like,
No, get help. I think the biggest thing for therapy for me was around realizing that my identity was much greater than being a lawyer. Like, I very
yes,
much, like, I thought my whole life was like about being a lawyer. And, if that was ever at jeopardy, I just would have massive anxiety. And I think
I went through that.
yeah. And once you realize that no, like, there's so much more to you than that. And it's okay. If you couldn't be a lawyer again, that's okay. You will figure
You can
out.
be an artist.
You might do something else.
Yeah.
It's, so I think that was a big part of it for me, learning that.
Yeah, and that's such a hard lesson to learn though, like in the midst of that. Because I remember
Mm,
going through that too, just being like, who am I when I grow up? I don't know.
yeah.
This
I,
is terrifying.
do we know still? I don't know.
Well, no, we're still figuring it out, let's face it. That's why we have
Yeah.
long lunches to get
Yeah.
through, have these questions and be like, so how's business going? Oh yeah, everything's great. Everything's great. I love my life. I love my life. No. But generally, genuinely, everything is good once you've been able to just vent and have that conversation, right? It's just one of those well-being mechanisms to be like, I'm not okay today. But after
Yeah.
this chat, I probably will be better.
I
Like
think
it's
talking about it, and I think showing staff that as well. Like, I'm pretty open with them if I'm having a tough time or a bad day. I don't hide that. Like, I think if they can see me being like that, they know it's okay.
yeah,
If
the
they're feeling like that.
vulnerability piece
Mm,
is
mm,
huge. And as you
yeah.
said, if you're attracting in people that have a similar set of values to you and are attracted to the kindness in the firm, and it definitely does show the kindness definitely comes through in the way that
Mm,
you guys operate and just the vibe, I think that Nurture Law puts out, which is nice. It's like, oh,
yeah.
I do feel like nurtured. It's nice.
I've had a few other principals reach out to a couple of us recently, and they're like, "Can you adopt us? We want to be
Oh,
adopted." That's very cute.
you're like, no.
It's a nice
Um,
feeling though.
you're like, yeah, I'm open to buying businesses actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Collaboration. Amazing. Oh, do you, last piece of advice for someone that's kind of in the thick of it and being like, I don't know if I can do this. What is my game plan moving forward? How do
Mm,
I even think about what that game plan is?
mm.
Any thoughts?
I think it's trying to create some space, and I know not everybody has the luxury, like I did, where I went on maternity leave and I
Yeah.
had time off to do that.
I mean, you were also looking after a tiny human that you just
I
birthed.
was, but that was fun. He was a pretty cool baby. But I think having that time off, and I appreciate not everybody gets that opportunity, but
Yeah.
even if it's not time necessarily, creating space in some way or seeking out, talking to people not inside your normal bubble, trying to figure out, what else where you might pivot to next. And taking time, it doesn't have that, you don't have to have that realization or make some drastic change in your life straight away. It
Yeah.
might take time to get to that point, and there's no
Yeah.
right or wrong answer to that. But also, like, taking that time, the time is to reflect, I think, and figure out, who you are, what your values are, what you want, and your next sort of steps.
And do you think, like, how do you know when you're at that point? Do you think it's just that gut feeling of being like, oh,
Yeah, I think so. It's the gut feeling, and are you going to work, for example, or whatever it is that you're doing? Is there any happy? Are you happy? Is there happiness there?
yeah.
What do you feel? When you're there or around those people, and having that kind of awareness and like, you know, in figuring out what's going to actually make you happy in the long run, having that time to reflect.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being here, Kelly. I very much appreciate it.
No
I'm
worries.
just
It's a
happy that
pleasure.
I tried to start. I did start a business 3 years ago, and here we are, 5 years on.
Yeah.
And no, how long ago did I start a business? 5 years ago. And 5 years ago, we met. And look, if anything great came out of my business, it is this friendship.
Yeah. I'm
Thank
so
you.
glad that we met through that process, and
Yeah,
I love watching what you're doing, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do in the future.
we'll see. Who knows? Probably just continue to pivot for the rest of my life. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to stop the recording now.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. That was the episode with Kelly Gatehouse. Kelly is just this powerhouse lawyer who has built this amazing little firm. Well, not that little. There's 10 people in there now. She is an amazing human, amazing boss, and just is kind and just gets shit done. So if you need a estates lawyer, 100% go to natural law. But I'm just so proud that Kelly's one of my friends and one of the most amazing lawyers I know. So thank you, Kelly. If you loved this episode, I'd love you to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things that you're supposed to do. I will